Well, hello. This is Glenn from Lights On Multimedia Mind Arts, and I'm here today to show you how to make tessellations in Affinity Designer. This is a fun thing you can do. You can make it. You can make tessellations to decorate your desktop computer, which is what I'm going to do. You can also make wrapping paper, all kinds of things, wall hangings. Use your imagination how you can apply this. And we're going to begin, let me show you. So a tessellation is a repeating shape that locks together with no spaces in between. So the simplest tessellation is simply a square, a checkerboard. And in this case, wouldn't say the definition that they would have to be the same color. You could have alternating colors, but the pieces do have to lock together. And so an example of this is now the shape begins to change. So you can see that whatever happens on one side, so if this is the one we're focusing on, if this is added to this side, you have to subtract that from the other side. Same thing. Whatever you do to the top, you have to echo that on the opposite side. You can make faces, right? And that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to go to File, New. And I've got this set up for my desktop, which is 4096 pixels by 2304 pixels. I don't suppose there's any reason to go any higher than 72 dpi, unless I'm going to print it. Then I would want to go up to 300. I click Create. And right now I have my grid turned on. And if you don't have your grid turned on, you can find it under View, Show Grid, right there. And it'd be helpful to have your the little magnet icon clicked to snap to the grid thing. And I'm going to choose my rectangle tool or square tool. And zooming in here a little bit, I'm going to just pick one of these larger. There are many squares here, the squares within squares. But I'm going to pick and click out with my Shift key held down a square that's 200 by 200. Let's go 300 by 300, like that. Okay. And now I'm going to convert that square to curves. And once I do that, I can click over here on my node tool, and I can begin to add points. And my idea is I want to make a face, and so we're going to make a profile. And I can. In my imagination, I'm going to imagine what a face would look like on this side. So I'm going to start by making some points. And I'm never quite sure how many points I need until I get done. So I'm going to click one point here. And then as I go across, I won't click that other point. See that red line there? There's a little red line. That means they're lined up. And when they're lined up, click. If you don't wait till they're lined up, your shape the pieces will not meet. They will not add together. So click down there, come across, click on that side, come over here, lined up, click, lined up. And there's no particular spacing. The spacing will develop as I go on. I'm just kind of putting them, not randomly, but I don't really have a set number. I suppose I could figure that out ahead of time, but then I almost always talk myself into adding others. Let's start with these just to begin with. So our forehead comes here, and then I kind of imagine an eye kind of going in here. So I need to select these, still using my node tool. I'm going to select both those points, and this transform mode should just be like this. If these icons in here are highlighted, it won't work. So if I click on those and I pull, and that's not what I want. So if I click again and I pull in, see how one side repeats with the other side, and I can pull down, I can go up. I'm just going to pull in a little bit at this point. And now I am going to pull all these down a bit. Okay, so then I'm going to select these two, and I'm going to pull these out about right there. And then I'm going to select these two here, and I'm going to pull them up like that. So here you've got the brow, the shape that goes in for the eyes, eye sockets, and nose comes out. Maybe I'll pull that down a little bit more. Okay, then I'm going to take these two, and I'm going to pull them up, and this becomes the upper lip right here. And then I'm going to pull these up and in. Then I am going to pull these up, and this becomes the tip of the lower lip. See how I could add more. So I'm going to, and this is where I have to be careful, because I want to absolutely make sure these line up. If they don't, my tessellation will not tessellate. All right, so then I'm going to add point here and a point here, select, and pull these up and forward. Now this is, you could leave them like this, but I want to round some of these out, so I'm going to select these two, and I'm using the corner tool here, and see how that rounds off both this side and that side at the same time. I'm going to click this corner tool, round the nose off a little bit, and then maybe this chin part down here, I'll do the same. A little bit like that. Okay, so that's the basic shape, but we can do a little, just to show you that we can do it on the horizontal lines as well. So once again, making sure I've got my node tool, I'll click, let's do a click here and a corresponding click below. Once again, we're waiting for that. There we go, there's the line, click there below, and then I'm going to click over here, and then come below and try to find a corresponding. There's our red line. Then I'm going to click here and a corresponding line here. So I'm going to select these two, zoom out a little bit, pull down, and then let's round those off in a puzzle-like fashion. Like that. All right, so that's our basic shape. And I like making people with blue skin. That way we can be more likely to use our imagination. So I'm going to click on my shape first, look at my fill tool, and pick blue, a lighter blue. And if you'd like, you can use your fill tool and maybe do a radial or elliptical. Think about maybe by the eyes here. Now, if you look at this, you can sort of imagine this being the back of somebody's hair, sort of wavy hair. Fitting into matching the profile on this side. And then from here, let's start adding some features. So I'm going to pick the circle tool or sphere tool, and I'm going to draw out. If I draw out an eye and it goes across this border, then it's not, it'll tessellate, but it doesn't, it's like cheating. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to, if it's okay to have it that close, but we want to have it be inside. We want to have it clipped. So I like doing the a lot of people drag it. I like the keystroke Option Command G or Alt Control G on a PC, and now that's on the inside. And now I can change the color of that to light. Okay, maybe I want to, yeah, that's probably good. And then on this side here, I'm going to make this a little bit lighter too. I kind of like the idea of having it be spherical though. All right, now I'm going to duplicate that, Command or Control J, and then I'm going to fill this with black. And I'm going to go to my color tab and just pull this down. Up, too big, right? So we have to hold down the Shift key, we'll go over one of these points, and then I'm going to hold down my Command or Control key, and I'm going to shrink that down a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And I want to make sure that these are centered, so I select the white part of the sclera of the eye, click that, and then I'm going to use my centering controls up here and here. Okay, that looks good. I'm liking it so far. I like it. He sort of has that almost, if you've looked at Celtic art, they have these wide-eyed creatures. And you know what? I think I'm going to take this eye here, and then I'm going to go to my effects tablet here, palette. I'm going to go to outer shadow, and then I'm going to pull some of these things over like this. Okay, I like that. That's looking good. And then I'm going to click on Scale with Object in case I ever want to rescale this at another time. And then let's think about a nostril. So we could use the nostril tool. Oh, they don't have a nostril tool. We'll just have to use a triangle then. So make a triangle, and then we'll go rotate it. You would think that you would think that a company like Serif would know that we need a nostril tool, but we can be creative and adapt the tools that we're given. Pull that down in size a little bit, tip it down. You can use the arrow keys a little bit, you know, if you want to. Okay, I'm thinking that's looking good. We could do an eyebrow, but first let's do hair. And I want to make sure I do that inside this. And I'm going to use my pencil tool, I think, and then just do crazy hair. Okay, so the hair on the outside of the shape isn't going to stay there because we're going to move that down. So I'm going to use my keystrokes of Option Command or Alt Control G to clip that on the inside. So all we care about is the stuff on the inside. And I think actually I'm going to edit that. I'm going to take and I'm going to make a space for an ear. You can click on these and delete them too if sometimes they're just, the pen tool makes a lot of space. So let's make them an elf. Okay, a little pointed ear. You like the pointed ear thing going? You get that going. Hold down this option here. Yeah, make that sharp like that. Looking good, looking good. Yeah, I don't think it'd go too. Just leave them with that lantern jaw. And we can then, let's just make a mouth shape. Just, oops, can't do that. You have to push escape to let that go. And then something like that. What happens if we make this thicker? We can taper this. We can either, holding down the Option key, you can click on one of these ends and go this way. Now his tongue looks like it's sticking. It looks like he has a black tongue and it's sticking out, but we're going to seat him inside that shape by Option Command or Alt Control G. So that stays inside like that. Oops, once again, you got to push escape. And I'm thinking that's looking pretty good in the context of big. Now we need to work on this hair. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. So go down on here and find this. And I'm going to use my node tool and just delete some of these extra node points. We want it to look like hair. Maybe you just blow that out a little bit. Okay. Yep, I'm thinking that looks good. Now we want to place this on our grid. And to do that, I'm going to close this shape up. Oh, we haven't created, we're going to need to create it as a, in case we want to, you know, mod it a little bit. Sometimes when you put the pieces together, it doesn't look quite like you think it would. So my suggestion is to make sure this is selected and then click on, if your symbol palette isn't down here already, go to View and you can find it under Studio Symbols, alphabetical order, right down there. So I would click that and then you've got a symbol. And if you want to reuse it again or change, you want to modify something, we can. So I'm going to put this up in the, I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. We want to put this in the upper left-hand corner, and then we want to begin to tessellate it. We want to put them in rows and columns. The easiest way to do that is to put 0 in your x-axis and 0 in your y-axis. And there he is. Now don't worry about the space up around the size. We'll take care of that momentarily. Now if we made that square to begin with 300 pixels, if we do Command or Control J to duplicate him, and then we add 300 pixels to the x-axis and push enter, it pops over, and if we've done what we needed to do, there's no space. It's tight. Okay, so we've done one, and we duplicated it. If we do Command J again, you got to select it. Command J, oh, we need to add another 300. Normally, if I've been paying attention, it remembers everything you did. Okay, so now I can do Command J, and this will go all the way across. Let me shrink it down so you can see. And you want to go off the edge. You want to go beyond what you need to go. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Well, now let's leave this up here for right now. And I'm going to make a row out of this. So Shift click, and I have a whole row. Command or Control G to make a group, and you can call this row, or you don't have to call it anything because it's not that hard. Now I'm going to center this. Go up to here and click on center. So now we don't have any white showing there. I know there's white at the top. Hang in there, we'll get to that. So now I'm going to do Command or Control J to duplicate that row, but we need to move it down. If we move it down using the transform palette by adding on the y-axis, put 300, and we've got that. Now once we do that, you don't do anything else, you just do Control J, Command or Control J, and once again you want to go beyond the bottom. Okay, so now we've still got white space at the top, which we need to take care of. So Command or Shift click and select all those, turn them into a group, Command or Control J, and then come up here and then do center this way, apply, and then we can turn that grid off. And then there it is. There's your elf wallpaper, and you can export it to your desktop. The only trouble is when something is as interesting as that, it's awfully hard to see where your folders and your documents are. So you might want to save it for wrapping paper. Well, thank you very much. I will be back soon with another tessellation variation. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.